Hello and welcome. This is Royce Rosewood of the Ragamancers, and today we're going to be talking about how to build a patchwork deck. So what is a patchwork tarot deck? If you've seen some of my other videos, or if you've heard of the Alleyman's Tarot, you may be aware of the idea of creating a deck or modifying a deck to have cards from all sorts of different decks, so a whole mishmash of different art styles and what's available. So you can check out some of my other videos about what that looks like or why you might want to try that. But this video is going to be about how to get started. So step one, you're going to need other people to trade and swap with. So there's a couple of different places online to do that. One of them is a Facebook group called The Alley, and I'll put a link to that in the description. You might also check out the Publishing Goblin Discord. Publishing Goblin is the one who made the Alleyman's Tarot, so there's some swaps that go on in there. If none of those groups appeal to you, there might be others out there that I'm not aware of. If you are aware of them, please let me know. I'll happy to share those links. And you could also just start your own. One of my first patchwork decks was just a group of, there was about 20 of us. We gathered on a Discord channel. We each threw in a complete deck. The organizers mixed it up and sent us back a patchwork deck, and that was a great way to get started. So if you feel like you can organize something like that, you might be able to do that on your own and get started that way. Okay, so you've plugged into the group. However you're going to do that community, you need to decide what are you going to swap? You need some cards to swap. You might have decks from your own collection that you're willing to break up and swap those out. You can get booster packs. These are cards that are designed for this kind of thing, and there's a link on my website for where you can find those booster packs. You can get one of the, what I like to think of, starter decks, so that's the Alleyman's Tarot, and there are still some of those left. And you can also check out my deck, Tarot of the Trunk, is specifically designed to participate in patchwork swapping. If you don't have any cards to swap, you can look at Facebook Marketplace, you can look at Craigslist, local cheap decks. I've found lots of great stuff at thrift stores for cheap. Okay, so before you're ready to swap, you want to make sure that you're ready. So you want to make sure that you have envelopes and stamps, any other little trinkets that you want to put into the envelope. Some people like to put in stickers or business cards for their business, or blank tarot cards or extra tarot cards, you know. There's all sorts of things that you can do. So make sure that you have all of that ready so that you're ready to go. Great. So once you've got that all set up and you've got your community, you need a way to show those people what you have available to swap. Now, something that's really common is to make a Google Drive. This is a free service with a Google account. There's lots of different ways to do this, but what I recommend is, and this can be a little time consuming, but I think it saves you time in the end, is to take pictures of every individual card. You can just set them up in a little stack, put a standard card nearby as a size reference, and take a picture, flip, take a picture, flip, to show people what you have available. Because then once you swap and when a card is not available, then you can just delete that card from your drive or move it into another folder. Rather than having to, if you take a spread of a whole bunch of cards, then having to edit that image individually to show what's available. Whatever works for you. I find the individual photos to be the best way and the easiest way for me to organize. But, you might have another method that works best for you. So you've taken pictures of all these cards. Now you're going to organize them in the folders in the Google Drive, whatever makes sense to you, by deck or, by major, minor, by suit, whatever. I've seen people do it different ways, and I don't think there's a right way or a best way. Just whatever makes sense to you and however you're going to organize them in your storage pile, so that when somebody's wanting to swap one, you know where to find it. So whatever makes sense to you. All right. And so now that you've got your Google Drive, you get that shareable link, and you can share that link with other people and they'll be able to see what you have. So there's kind of two ways to approach this. Now, if you're in the Alley group, you can just throw that link up into the group, say, hey, I've got stuff available to swap. Now, if you do that, get ready, because you might get a lot of requests really quickly. And I like to set out some time because it can be really overwhelming. You get a lot of requests. And I just like to make sure that I've got time and space to answer those requests in a timely manner. Now, I think mostly people are pretty good-natured, and they don't mind if you take some time to respond, but I like to respond a little bit promptly, and that means I have to set out some time. So, you might be getting, 5, 6, 7, 8 requests, depending on how busy the group is, within the span of a couple hours. And then as people see it over the next couple of days, you're going to be getting requests. And so just relax. Some people can find that really overwhelming. And if that's the case, maybe you want to do it the other way. Instead of posting your link available for other people to approach you, you go to other people's links and just share your link with people who you want to trade with. So it's not available to everyone, and you can manage how many swaps you want to have going on at the same time. So you get to control, I'm going to reach out to only 3 people, share them my drive, and do those swaps. So whatever you want to do, whatever feels best for you in terms of organizing that. But I say that because I didn't realize how overwhelming and not that it's so time consuming, but it can take a little bit of time out of your day to manage and organize and make sure that your swaps are all going to the right place. I think a good number to offer in a swap is 3, because you're going to be paying for postage, just a regular postage stamp if you're in the United States. And they've worked out that about 10 cards can fit into an envelope with just a regular postage stamp. But I think 3 is a good number. It's not too few and it's not too many. And I think most people will try to work out a deal with you. They'll look at your drive, no matter what you're interested in, and they'll try to find something that they're interested in to swap with you. So, I've swapped 3 or 5 and then sometimes they come back and say, hey, I'm interested in these 5. And then you go back to their drive and you find a couple more. It's a real back and forth. People are really good natured. They're excited to diversify their collection. So swapping is super fun, and don't be afraid. But also don't be offended if somebody says, I don't really see anything that I'm interested in. Just, move on and, look at the next drive. I recommend keeping track, having some way of keeping track of all these trades, making sure that things are going to the right place. So a spreadsheet or a notebook, just to make notes of names and addresses and what you were sending them, and what you were expecting to get back in return, so you can keep track as things come in. You can check things off and make sure that everything's getting to the right place. So once the swap is ready to go, you're going to package that up. I like to wrap my cards in just a sheet of printer paper. Some people do a little bit more. I don't think that's strictly necessary, and I also don't mind if things get a little warped in the transit, because I think that's just the alley, putting the little energy in there. And also if you put cardboard or something, that's going to increase the size and that's going to increase your postage cost. So I just like to keep things simple and cheap, because I'm going to be doing a lot of trades. If you're just going to do a few trades, you want to make sure that they're totally cool. You might do cardboard or something thicker, but that is going to increase your shipping cost. Now in the United States, you can just put the stamp on and just leave it in your mailbox. I understand that's not a service that's available everywhere, and I've never had any problems. But I know that there might be regional differences. So in some zip codes, they might be a little bit more stringent. And if the weight is just a little bit over, they're going to charge, they're going to send it back and need more postage. So your mileage may vary. So figure out what things are like in your area. And also international from the United States is super easy. Just get the international stamps. They're like $1.20 or something. And it's a great way to make international trade pen pals. All right, so hopefully this helps get you started on how to get started with Patchwork Tarot. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm happy to help. I love bringing people into this very exciting and interesting hobby. So I hope to see you swapping. Stay well, and blessed be.